Hey peeps, it's Jedd here from Tutoring, and as always, it's such a pleasure to join you. Today we're going to deal with a geometric series question, and with that in mind, let's dive straight in. So they've said to us in a convergent geometric series, which means we know the R value is going to be between -1 and 1. We have the sum of the first two terms is 90, and the sum of all the terms up to infinity is 375 over 4. They've said to us, determine its first term and its common ratio. Alright, so what do we know? We know that the sum of the first two terms is 90, and we also know that the sum of the terms to infinity is equal to 375 over 4. Now, we have some nifty formulas for these, so let's use them to see if that can help us out. So, let's start with our S2. Okay, so another way of writing S2. So we've got the formula for the sum of the series, but it's easier here to use our logic behind what makes up the sum. So the sum here is going to be our first term plus our second term. So our first term in a geometric sequence is A, and then to get to our second term, we multiply that by our ratio, and that equals 90. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull out an A, and that's going to be 1 plus R equals 90. And then I can solve for A, and that's going to give us 90 over 1 plus R. Okay, so that's really nice, and that we can call equation 1. Right, so we already get a feeling for the fact that we're going to have to do a simultaneous equation in this question. Right, so let's do our sum to infinity. So we'll use our sum to infinity formula on the left-hand side, which will be A over 1 minus R. And remember, the R here is between -1 and R. So that's very important, because you'll need to assess your R's at the end to make sure that they do fit that criteria. Right, and that is equal to 375 over 4. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to multiply, I'm going to cross multiply to get rid of my fractions or my denominators. So that means I'll need to multiply that side by the 375, and I'll need to multiply that side by the 4. Okay, right, so once that is done, I'm going to have 4A equals 375 times 1 minus R. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say A is equal to 375 over 4 times that 1 minus R. And that we can call equation 2. What's really nice about getting to this point is that we've got two equations where A is the subject of the formula. So now we can equate the two equations. And with that in mind, we would have 90 over 1 plus R equals 375 1 minus R over 4. Now what's nice here is the fact that we have one variable in this equation, which means by solving this equation, we'll be able to get to an answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross multiply again to get rid of my denominators. I'm able to do that because I've only got one term on either side. So that's going to be 90 times 4 is going to give me 360. And then I've got 375 times 1 minus R times 1 plus R. And that's going to give me 360 equals 375. Now, I want you to look at these brackets just to save yourself some time and not do the FOIL thing. I've got a 1 and a 1 and an R and an R, and then I've got a minus and a plus. And we know that's the output typically associated with a difference of two squares. Right, so I must therefore realize that the answer here, when I multiply the two brackets together, is going to be 1 minus R squared. And that saves me a bit of time and effort in calculating that. Right, what do I need to do next? Well, I'm trying to get R by itself. So in order to do that, I need to get rid of this 375. And when I do that, I'm going to have 360 divided by 375, which is going to give me 24 over 25, and that is equal to 1 minus R squared. All right, now what I need to do, I'm going to move up to here to continue this answer. I hope you don't mind. Right, so we're going to have 24 over 25 minus 1, because I need to get rid of this 1 over here. So what would that be? That would be minus, let me switch to pen, minus 1 over 25, brilliant, equals minus R squared. Okay, so that's very important. Why is that important? Well, we need to divide both sides by minus now. So that's going to be 1 over 25 equals r squared. I now need to get rid of the square root. So what I do now is I'm going to bring in a plus minus square root, and I'm going to square root both sides. And therefore my answer here is going to be plus or minus 1 over 5 equals r. Okay, so we've got to a point where we've got two values for r. Let's assess them. Are both of these values of r allowed? Remember, we have a restriction when it comes to our s to infinity that r needs to be between minus 1 and 1, and in this case both of them satisfy that. Okay, so that means we can have two potential r values. But are we done? We are not done yet. We still need to solve for a. Okay, so I'm going to erase this a little bit over here just to give myself a bit of space so that I can solve for a. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this term over here, and I'm going to substitute in my plus 1 over 5 and my minus 1 over 5 into that in order to get my answer. So it's going to be a is equal to 90 over, and it's going to be 1 plus 1 over 5. And if I plug that in to my calculator, I'm going to get 90 over 1 plus 1 over 5, which is going to give me 75. Right, so that is one of my a's. So I'm going to say a is equal to 75 down here, just so the educator can know. Remember, you're going to write all of this down in your answer. You're not going to erase anything, but I need to, just in order to give myself a bit of space. Now I'm going to use my negative 1 over 5. So all that happens is it's going to be a is equal to 90 over 1 minus 1 over 5. And that is going to give me, once I plug it into my calculator, I've got 90 over 1 minus 1 over 5. And that is going to give me 225 over 2. So 225 over 2. And that gives me the final answer for that particular a. A very special thank you to our sponsor for making this video possible. Be sure to read all about them in the description below. Also, head over to our website for more of these epic tutorial videos. If you can't find the answer to your question, send us the question and we'll respond with a personalized video just for you. Until the next time, stay epic.